So in today's video, I'm going to show you 5 amazing funk tunes and why they are so great and why I think you should probably learn them as well. So here's the 5 best funk tunes. Now at number 5, I want to put one by Kool and the Gang, and it's Jungle Boogie. It's from the 70s and it's just an absolutely amazing bass riff to learn. So to pick it apart, it is a sort of G minor Dorian. It's a Dorian-y thing. It's a G Dorian thing because it's in F. So the key is in F, but it's a very G minor-y sort of thing. So it's a very G minor Dorian thing, which is basically it's a minor chord and it's the 2 of the key, which makes it that minor Dorian. And it's a really simple, nice, easy funk riff to learn. And it's got great use of interesting rhythm, it's got great use of chromaticism, and just works really well as a funk bass line. And then you've got the main sort of that thing on G, because it's very G minor-y, so you're on G a lot there, and there's that, but that main bit of the tune is really what makes it for me. Then the next tune we've got is Jameson's Ain't No Mountain High Enough. I know it's a Marvin Gaye tune, but you know, Jameson was playing bass on it, and Jameson is just the king of funk bass lines. So I'll give you a clip of Jameson playing this because he'll play it far better than I will. Now you can see from that there is great use of really interesting rhythm. There's a lot of use of octaves in the bass line. That's not an octave. There we go. And you know, it's a really funky, groovy bass line with lots of notes to fill in, and definitely one which you should learn yourself. An absolutely wonderful funk bass line which really carries through the tune and just sounds beautiful all throughout. Next one we've got comes from the great Jaco Pastorius. 2 of these tunes which come from him, really. Technically the one in number 1's from Pee Wee Ellis. You probably already know it already if you know your Jaco stuff, but it's Come On, Come Over, and he plays this bass line absolutely amazingly. But you know, just to demonstrate, that's the sort of chorus bass line, and then you've got this other one. And they're your bass lines for the tune, and there's a great contrast between them because this is so simple and minimalist. There's nothing more than this, and it just keeps repeating it until it goes. Etc. And then, you know, it actually goes to C before returning back to that bass line again. And you know, it's got great movement of, you know, dynamic, and it's got great sort of movement of this is a really simple idea and this is a much more complex idea in the chorus, where things actually tend to be more complex in the verses and sort of simplify in the choruses to be that really catchy thing. But this amazing funk bass line from Jaco really comes through in this, and it really adds great contrast between the verses and the choruses, and it is an absolutely fantastic tune for any funk player to learn. Now in number 2, would it really be a funk conversation without talking about Vulfpeck? Obviously a much newer band than all of this stuff, but Town by Vulfpeck is just an absolutely amazing tune to learn, and it's just an absolutely amazing funk tune. It starts with this really minimalist intro going over the chord progression, which is F sharp, C sharp, E, B, because it's an F sharp minory thing, and you know, it goes around those changes, it introduces you to that, and it does it in a very minimalist way. It's sort of, in a way, perhaps even dragged on a little bit, but you know, it really fits, because then the next bit, when it comes in with the and going on, it really adds a great contrast. And not to mention, it's an absolute piece of funk madness coming from Joe Dart, a wonderful bass line, and then doubled by the guitar the second time around when it comes through, and with the stops at the end. It is so contrasting in ideas, and the ideas work so well together. It works so well over the changes. While simple changes, yes, you know, it builds, it adds onto itself, and it never really makes you feel like, oh, it's the same sort of thing again. It's a great, funky, groovy, quick bass line and melody, really. The melody is shared by the bass and the guitar. The bass is doing all the hard work in this tune, but there's, you know, the keyboard sort of riffs and stuff once you've finished the melody, and it sort of goes back into that, you know, one note groove thing, even though there's a little bit more groove going on before going back into the, at the end. There's so much great, you know, dynamic in this tune, and there's so many great ideas being introduced, and the flow of it works really well. Drums are tight, clean, and have a really fat sound. So does Joe Dart's bass sound with the flats on that bass. Absolutely amazing tune, amazing funk tune, and everyone should learn it. And then coming in at number one, I put the Chicken, and not necessarily because it's a more complex or better funk tune than any of the others. They're not in any particular order, perhaps, although Deantown is a really amazing one. I prefer Deantown as a funk tune, but I'm putting the Chicken in at number one for a very specific reason. It's very easy and accessible for everyone to learn on the bass, because it's not a very difficult bass line. Deantown has got some pretty complicated stuff in it, and it will take you some time to learn that tune. By all means, learn it. I strongly encourage you to. Don't feel discouraged if you're a more beginner bass player. Go and learn Deantown. It doesn't matter what speed you can play it at. If you can play it at any speed, that is still great. You get to learn your fretboard a little bit more. You get to, you know, really focus on good technique, clean notes, and all of that. It's a great tune for beginners to learn. I won't discourage you from it, but the Chicken is simply, and that's basically it for the tune. And yes, it does move to E flat and do some other things, but you can just move the shape around, and then to D, G there, C, and then you've got that little sort of riff at the end, which the rhythm could be difficult, but if you listen to it enough times, you can get it dialed in. Play along with the original recordings for all these tunes, by the way, because then you get a much better gauge for the feel of the tunes. But the Chicken is just a really nice, simple funk tune which really works well. So we've got some good, funky changes, good for improvising on if that's what you're wanting, but perhaps not in the beginner stages. That's what you'll be doing. But it's just a great bass line to learn, great shape to learn. It's a great sounding bass line, and it's not a difficult one to play. So I urge anyone who wants to do any sort of funk tunes or any bass lines really to learn the Chicken, as it is my number one on just funk tunes that you should learn, and 5 amazing funk tunes in general. So that's all I've got for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.